The difficult trading conditions we have experienced, whether we've been slightly longer term traders or short-term traders in the last couple of months, really are indicative of a major transition from one big cycle to another. Transition periods are difficult to trade at the best of times, and right now is a time where particularly investors need to learn new skills, learn to trade a little more short term, and get into swing trading. Of course, the timing in swing trading, is a skill that is not acquired overnight. First and foremost, it is absolutely vital that you understand the big macro picture behind the markets. And this really means looking behind the veil of public opinion, the opinions you are hearing on CNBC, Bloomberg, and the like, because let's not lose sight of the fact that most of these guys who are appearing on these TV shows, they want to sell you a service. And they are there to promote their companies, often large companies, and also they make their money on brokerage fees. Okay, I don't want to judge these guys. At the end of the day, everybody needs to make a living somehow, and there is room for all of us to remain in business. However, I am just mentioning these things so that you become a little more aware of what you are listening to. And I want to hone in you the necessity and the belief that you really have to learn to make up your own opinion about what is going on in the market. One way of doing this is, of course, understanding universal law, understanding evolutionary law, which are all the things I teach in all my programs and my books and on my blog, on my website. Basically, this is what it's all about. So when you understand the bigger macro picture of, shall we say, existence in relationship to the financial markets, and learn how to make the correlations and interpret the cycles, and then learn how to interpret what you see on the charts in the bigger context, this will give you an ability to develop a feel for the market. And again, this is something we have talked about a lot, moving out of the linear mind into that feeling being where you intuit your trades rather than trading on a purely mechanical basis. The challenging trading conditions of late, and particularly the waterfall decline we have seen, which by the way was caused by a lack of liquidity when the markets, the indices went limit down in a move which has been unprecedented in this form in history. Well, that has of course made us all sit back and look, those of us who are offering advisory services, wanting to help investors and traders, at the very least, because we see panic ensuing, the average trader and investor just not knowing what to do, where to orient themselves in times like this. Now, there are times when you need very, very few rules in a market, and pretty much every trade turns out. Now, in my own trading, I can tell you I certainly had such a period until pretty much, beginning and middle of July, mainly trading the currencies, and then, of course, the market changed and one had to adjust one's strategy. Now, this is something else that even investors need to learn today. They need to understand when it is time to tweak their strategies. And those are the finer points about swing trading, about investing, where people are grappling with, where they have challenges. So when things get difficult, the number one rule has got to be trade less. I cannot stress this often enough. I think we have talked about this in different permutations before. If in due, if in doubt, do nout. When you are uncertain, that is your subconscious, the innate part of your being telling you that right now is not the time to march full throttle ahead. Rather, it is a time for contemplation, honing new skills, educating yourself in an attempt to increase and expand your conscious awareness and to grow as a person and naturally, consequently, as a trader and investor. The two go hand in glove together. Um, right now, I feel more so than ever before, you need to develop a trading style where you are looking at important support and resistance points, and you trade over these important points, as resistance and support levels, because what that does, it'll keep you out of the chop in the market. The likelihood of catching a good move when you reach a major support or resistance point is much higher. What of course you then need to understand is how to trade these major support and resistance points. And really, it doesn't matter what time frame you are trading in, whether you trade of a minute chart, an hourly chart, or the daily or even weekly charts. This is what I'm teaching in my trading psychology and ETF trader service. I show traders and particularly investors the apart from the psychology in place here, I show you how you can take advantage of these moves, giving you specific examples and patterns, how they develop, and also explain to you why they develop and how the brain sees these patterns. Now, we always use price action, and price, to understand price action is actually, it said it is very simple. However, to using those principles on a consistent basis is not that simple. The reason for this is basically this: the mind needs to be shown over and over and over again a certain price structure. And of course, there is not only one price structure, there are countless price structures, and they repeat, but always in slight permutation. This is where your logical mind has got great difficulty, and we overcome this difficulty by honing our innate abilities. However, all said and done, a master will use everything. So that also means you need to have the structure in place where you understand what price patterns you are looking at. And that requires practice. Practice, 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 practice. Looking at the charts over and over and over again. The mind needs to draw a particular pattern at least 200 times before it is locked into that part of the brain that begins to operate on automatic pilot. Now, we don't draw patterns these days. However, what we can do by educating ourselves, by subscribing to services like the ones I am offering, because it'll help you to train your mind. And I don't want to sound like a broken record here, pushing my services here, but I'm doing it for a reason, because obviously I want to help you overcome the problems I had to overcome. So I know we are all struggling with the same problems, so that you don't have to wait for 10 years to become consistently successful. Most of us do not have the capital, let alone the patience and the mental endurance to train 10 years or 7 years to become successful at something. So the short cut always is learn about yourself, learn about some basic strategies I'm not talking about being too specific, because the specific minutiae, those are things you will have to work out for yourself. It's different for everyone. Everyone sees the charts in a different way. Everyone sees their reality in a different way. Um, Okay, enough for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please share it with others. It's, after all, the way I rely on spreading my work. Visit thebuddhisttrader.com for more information, and I look forward to sharing more with you in these very interesting markets where big opportunities are around the corner. And that is something you will be able to take advantage of if you have not wasted your psychological capital in the last few weeks. I hope you have not.